Welcome to the first episode of 7-Day Horde base builds. This is going to be our first base that we've built right next to the Navezgene city, and this is what it's going to look like. So as you can see, we have some protection from vultures, we have some protection from cops, we've got a bunch of spikes, and a way to get in that you'll fill these spikes in right here once you're done. Now to build this, we're going to need a decent amount of materials, and hopefully you'll be able to get this before your first 7-day horde. Remember, this is scalable. You don't have to upgrade these all the way, but I would suggest trying to get your forge ready to make your iron bars. And this is what you're going to need. So we've got 300 spikes, 240 frames, 212 iron bars. Now to make all this, you're going to need all of this iron, you're going to need this much wood. The final thing you'll need is the 20 clay per set of bars. As you can see, that's going to be 4,240. Good luck, hope you survive your 7 days, and we'll see if we do. We're on Alpha 17, and we're going to try out several different bases for our first 7-day horde and see how they line up, how well do they work up, how many spikes do you need, and see, if someone was standing on top of the base, how would it go? If they didn't shoot, how would it go if they did shoot? Do we need to defend? Do we not need to defend? And check how that goes. So after I kill these zombies here, we're going to start off with our first base design. Come on, guys. We already can see some of the new features of A17, zombies jumping up at us. So with that, we'll start off here. We're going to get out of our flight mode here. Alright. And we're going to start with our first base. You can see we're in Navezgene, and we're right on the edge of the main city that's fairly close to spawn. And we're going to start right in the middle of a road, seeing how this goes. And what we're going to do is we're going to do this and make a square here. And once I'm done building the main part of it, we'll be right back. Alright guys, we're back, and as you can see, we have our base started. We have a nice square area right in the middle of the road that has good view down each of these roads, and this is going to be the start of our base. What we're going to do next is we're going to fill this in a little bit. We're going to upgrade these. We're going to make some areas for us to stand on and make a way in and out of this. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and put in a little bit more support. That way we don't have any issues with it collapsing. So we're going to make 4 pillars that are tall enough here. And these are going to go a little bit higher than our main base. Alright, we're almost done here. One more on each side and we should be good. Alright, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to lay down some bars. We're going to lay them where they're actually facing like this. That way we can see down where we're actually working. So we're going to do it like this. And it's a little difficult sometimes to place these the correct way. They have 2500 durability, so they're going to be good in terms of base support. But the one thing you'll have to be careful, if you place this wrong, it's going to cause you a bit of a pain to be able to remove it. So always make sure when you're placing these down that you've got them lined up. If you have to adjust your mouse sensitivity, that's what I do when I'm working with these. That way it's not as hard. You know, I can move my mouse just a tiny bit rather than being as high in sensitivity as I work with. And generally for 7 days to die, I actually bring it down 2 notches in general anyway on the sensitivity. Alright, so we're going to put those everywhere through here. We've got a couple more to place. 2 more. Last one. Alright. Alright guys, now that our floor is done, you can see we've got it all nice and placed. We're going to go ahead and upgrade all of these frames. Now, we'll need some wood and some iron to do this. At the beginning, you saw how much of these materials you'll need for the entire base, so just make sure you have that. Once I've got all of these upgraded, we'll show you here. First, we've got some wood. Let's grab some iron. And I'll show you how far I like to upgrade. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's generally what I'm going to do when it comes to this. We're going to upgrade it as far as we can just on the iron though for this build, and you can try it your way if you'd like. Once I've upgraded all of this, we'll come back and we'll see how it's going. Be right back, guys. Alright guys, we're back. As you can see, everything in here has been upgraded, even in here. So now what we're going to do is we're going to work on making some flooring for us to be able to first see any zombies that might be right up against our base and shoot out at them, and B, we're going to work on creating some things to protect us from things like birds and from any cops that might be shooting. Now this may not be the most worrisome thing in the first 7-day horde, but after we get into further hordes, or if you're in a higher difficulty, maybe this becomes a concern early on. So we're going to make a platform for us to stand on, and as you can see, it is going to work like this. You're going to be able to stand here, you can see down and shoot through these, and you can also see out and about. Once you start working on this, make sure that these have been upgraded first. You don't want an incident like where you're putting these and then all of a sudden, oops, they fall. For example, we'll insert some more of these here, and if we were going to do this when they weren't upgrading, it might look something like this. Now you can see once we have these blocks upgraded, this kind of a base isn't going to be too bad. So we've put down our 87 iron bars to make up this floor, and we've left one spot here, and I'll explain here in a little bit what we're going to use that spot for. The next thing we're actually going to do though is we're going to actually be placing these to where we can get them looking like, yeah, we've got a little bit of defense. You'll notice with these corners that they're not the easiest to work with because of situations like this. So what you'll have to do is you'll have to rotate them correctly and place them down. Now once this is done, we'll have a nice area that looks like this, and we'll come back once that's done. Alright guys, as you can see, we have our wall built. Now that gives us a little protection from cops. You'll see there's a little bit of a difficulty here as they don't line up very well together because there's already a bar on top of this bar, and you'll have that on a couple places, but it won't look too bad. Next thing we need to worry about is, well, how are we going to get up here? We want to be up here to fight the horde, but we don't want to be down there, and we don't want a ladder, that's for certain. Well, you may have seen these hatches in my inventory, and that's how we're going to do it. We went ahead and kept this up here open. Now, what are we going to do with this? Well, we're going to make a hatch ladder. Now, you can upgrade this as much as you want or as little as you want. The zombies generally aren't going to worry about it. You open this bottom hatch, you close the hatch, you jump, and look, we're up. All that's needed. Now, if you really wanted, you could place another hatch. That way you could actually, you know, go all the way up. I don't mind the jumping, but that's up to you. The next piece we're going to make is a roof to go over our heads. Now, this is the difficult part because we do have birds. We're going to need to build some corners to be able to withstand holding this, but otherwise, we should be fine. So I'm going to get to building that, and we'll be right back. Alright guys, our roof is done. So what you can see I did here, I made us a safety net for in case we start getting our vultures, and we can come in here, deal with them in here, and then come back out here to deal with the zombies. So you'll see, basically what we did is we connected them to these 4 pillars that we made. That way there's a little bit more safety to the structure, and this is going to be the gist of our base. Now, there's several things you can do to make it a little bit better. Obviously, you can upgrade the materials that we've got currently. We just have the iron. You can upgrade it to cobblestone and things like that. And you can also add another layer of walls, and if you really wanted, connect all of these iron bars together. Because obviously we don't need any entryway other than our little hatches over here. The final thing you're going to want to do for this build is make some spikes. Now it really depends on which spikes you want to use. I prefer just to use regular old spikes when it comes to making things naturally, and you'll just place them down in circles around your base. Now I like to build out this side first and make sure we have access to our hatches, and then when it comes to actual Horde Day, you're going to be able to walk in here. You're going to fill in these behind you, lift the hatch, finish those off, hit the hatch again, and up you go. Now, once you apply all these spikes around, I like to put a 6 set of spikes around for the first Horde night. They break through pretty quickly, and these spikes aren't the greatest, so you can make a circle around. If you really want to, you can carve out the ground here and place the full ring of spikes. Just depends on your preferences. With that, I'm going to set up all these spikes. I'm going to give us a bow, and we'll get to the 7th day and see how this holds up. Alright guys, see you in a moment.